As you know, AI is reshaping healthcare, and one of the most meaningful impact is the standardization of the wound photography to catch complications earlier. I was introduced to today's speaker, Ben, by Professor David Armstrong, who is currently speaking in Spanish Podiatry Association in Gran Canaria in Spain. He sends his regards and asked me to have the honor to introduce our today's speaker. Ben is CEO of TrueC Systems. His mission is to deliver medical photos and also the photos that clinician and patient can trust. A veteran founder on his seventh health care startup and third CEO role. Ben is also Malcolm Baldridge Performance Excellence Examiner with a track record of regulatory clearance, successful product launches, and industry leadership. He's an author and a former world champion water skier who brings the same disciplines to the healthcare innovation. Ben will speak on the AI-driven present and future of medical photography. We are delighted to have him with us. Ben, thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you. I'm honored.
I stop sharing my slide, and the platform is yours.
I appreciate it. Are we up and running?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you for the introduction, and the mission alignment between what y'all are doing and what we're trying to accomplish at TrueC is just perfection. So I was really excited when Dr. Armstrong told me about your group and all the great things you're doing. I want you to imagine you have a young son, 4 or 5 years old, and you live somewhere near some woods, and he went outside to play, and a little while later he comes back in, and on his back there's a rash. And you're looking at that rash and you're wondering, is that an infection? Could that be cellulitis? Or maybe that's just poison ivy. And they can kind of look the same. So you're wondering, what is that? And you take a photo of what it is, and the photo comes back and the AI tells you that's just poison ivy. Put some calamine lotion on it, your son will be fine. Or that's cellulitis, or maybe a snake bite or a spider bite. Bring him to the urgent care, call your pediatrician. That is the future of healthcare. Everybody is on their cell phone, and to enable y'all's mission and our mission, that's the level that we need to get to. Now, is it possible? It's already being done today with plants. There are multiple apps that y'all probably all are familiar with them, that you can take a picture of a plant. It can tell you what kind of plant it is. Over 1 million plants can be identified. It can tell you how much water it needs. It can diagnose any issues with the plant, and it can provide you care advice. So you have to ask yourself, if we can do it for a plant, why can't we do it for humans? And I'll tell you that in internal body imaging, we are. It's unbelievable. Maybe it's one of the greatest successes of using images in AI is today AI can detect breast cancer 5 years before it develops. That's life-changing. That's the difference between a lumpectomy and a mastectomy. I mean, that totally game-changing. And AI has also been able to show that it's 4 times more accurate than doctors for diagnosis of over 300 cases. But you have to ask yourself, well, if we can do this with inside the body imaging, why aren't we already doing this in outside the body imaging, medical photography, the original medical photo or medical image? So let's look at the state, the current reality of medical photos. If you look at the medical literature, more than 50% of medical photos have significant clinically relevant color deviation. This is data from a study we presented last year at the SAWC wound care meeting. We looked at 50,000 patients uncalibrated photos. And we color matched this yellow color to the colors that were being seen in the photos. And that one yellow color was interpreted as 27,000 different shades of yellow. So what does that mean clinically? Well, if it's greenish, it would suggest the patient potentially has a Pseudomonas infection. If it's brownish, it would suggest the patient potentially has vascular issues. If it's yellow, it's slough tissue. We debride it, everything's good. So here's the crazy part though. These 3 photos were taken of the same patient, the same visit with the same camera. So what's one's correct? You have a 1 in 3 chance of getting it right. That's the reality of patient care today, especially in the remote care setting where a patient may take a photo or a home care person may take a photo in poor lighting, uncontrolled circumstances. You have no idea if that photo is correct. And multiple studies now have shown that these colors lead to not only clinical confusion and eroding trust, but diagnostic errors. So poor results cost millions in a lot of different ways. First, there's the diagnostic errors, right? And maybe most dramatically is, you can work around it if you can actually see the patient. But in a lot of these settings, you don't see the patient. Either it's a consult or in research, you have a blinded observer being sent a photo to assess a patient. And the photo just doesn't represent the live observation of that patient, inhibiting research. Second is, from a physician practice standpoint, it disrupts your workflow. You have retakes because the photos aren't good, and you have technical problems that slow down the transitions of care. If I'm on service this month and next month Bajan is on service and I'm trying to transfer a patient, I have to write this big long note explaining why the photo doesn't look like what I saw, which slows down my day. Reimbursement. The number one reason why image or claims are denied is because the notes aren't supported by the documentation. If you have a photo that says one thing and people believe the photo and your note says another, denied. They want more information to clarify this inconsistency. And if you look in the legal world, the number one reason why photos are thrown out of court or rejected for recoupments for reimbursement is because you can't verify the authenticity or the accuracy of that photo. HIPAA violations with photos are common. And in fact, I was talking to someone just yesterday who had a new baby, and they were concerned and wanted to send a video and a picture to the pediatrician's office. And they said, no, sorry, we can't accept that picture or video because it's not HIPAA compliant. So patients want to send photos, except as clinicians, we're stopping them because we're worried about HIPAA violations. And then maybe the biggest impact is when you have accurate photos, it inhibits AI innovation. So if you don't have AI innovation, and it's because we don't have standards to produce photos, when the reality is one color is represented as 27,000 different colors, AI needs to know the truth. And there's multiple studies that have shown this, but this quote I thought really drove it home. And this is from a study of Genedal that came out. I got the quote from the NIH website. An AI model was provided of a photo of a patient's arm with 2 lesions. Because the lesions were presented at different angles, it caused an illusion of different colors and shapes. The AI model failed to recognize that both lesions could be related to the same diagnosis. That's the reality of the world we live in today. Now, why is this occurring? 1 billion photos are taken every year by clinicians on their cell phone, and we aren't going to change that. They're going to keep doing it. It's too fast, it's too easy. You have to meet people where they are. Over 50% of these photos are just plumb wrong. They are unusable in the medical world. The number one reason is technical variation. Your cell phone isn't designed to be a medical device. It's designed to make you look cute and pretty for Facebook and Instagram. That's just the reality of it, and it's not going to change. the use of cell phones for selfies and those applications far outweigh the medical purposes. And this has happened to everyone on this call, that you've taken a photo of a sunset or a light, some situation, and you look at it on your camera and you're like, wow, that picture looks amazing. It doesn't look like that in real life, but that's a great photo. And that's what it's designed for. But it's worse than that, because not only does it change from phone to phone, it changes every month when they do their update and they change their algorithm. So in healthcare, we want consistency. We want photos taken the same way every time. And when the algorithm's changing, it's a moving target. The second thing is technique inconsistency. My daughter's in college, and I saw that we have some people from UCLA on this. I want to thank y'all for beating Penn State. And I want to apologize. I saw we had some University of Missouri people. I'm a University of Alabama graduate. This time of year is my favorite time of year. My daughter's at University of Alabama right now. We're going to the Tennessee game this weekend. I can't wait. But she knows how to hold the camera just right for her Facebook and Instagram post to make her look, she and her friends look skinny. Well, that's using manipulation and perspective to improve how they look. But in the medical world, it's the last thing you want. You want consistency. Think of all the pains we go through in internal body imaging and X-ray. The camera has to be the right distance. The patient has to be positioned just right. You want that consistency so we can see what we want to see. The last thing is, on your cell phone, after you take a picture, I can press a button and turn my gray hair brown. I can get rid of my wrinkles, and I can turn my blue eyes brown with a click of a button. Now, that's called fraud in healthcare, when you manipulate a photo. And incredibly, Elizabeth Blix from Stanford did a study looking at manipulation of photos in published medical journals and found that up to 5% of photos in peer-reviewed published journals had been manipulated. 2 articles from New England Journal had to be withdrawn. So do you think someone down in some shady part of America is manipulating photos to improve reimbursement? There's probably a good chance it's happening today. So what is the future of medical photography? That's what we're working on at TrueC. The first thing is meet people where they are. So we've developed a photo app, and our design parameter is to make it as easy to use as the camera button on your phone, because that's what people are using today. It integrates with any EHR platform, and it's a totally HIPAA secure platform with rapid access storage, so you can see the photos instantly. The next thing you do is you insert this color slate into the photo, and this replaces the measurement tool you'd typically put in a medical photo for scale. And you can see we have the measurement right here. But the next thing you'll notice is the variety of colors on here. All the representative skin tones from the Monk scale are on here, because if you look at the medical literature, getting the skin tone right is critically important to wound and dermatologic conditions. If you don't get the skin tone right, then the colors of the wound will be distorted. My Irish American skin looks different than Hispanic skin or Middle Eastern skin or African American skin, and you have to get the skin tone right. Second is you'll see all the clinically relevant colors. So you think of wound care, you have the red, pink, black, yellow scale. In dermatology, you have the Nevis's colors of blues and purples. If you think of immunologic conditions like psoriasis, you have the pinks to reds. So you have all those clinically relevant colors of different skin conditions and wounds, as well as all the colorimetric calibration colors, which are the opposites of those colors that give you the right sensitivity and specificity that you need for medical diagnoses. What our AI system does is we know the values of these colors, and we've rooted them in the medical literature. So the red we have on there is the World Health Organization specific color for healthy blood. The same for all the colors on the Monk scale. So we have those color values. We calibrate using an AI system back to those colors. And what we've been able to show is an 87% agreement between the photo and the live patient observation. Secondly, is addressing the inconsistency in photographer technique. Now, all of y'all have taken a direct deposit check where you hold the camera and it forces you to hold the camera exactly right. It can't be skewed. It can't be too far away. It can't be too close. It has to be in focus. We use the exact same source capture optimization that your bank uses, except we've put it on steroids. What our source capture optimization does is it recognizes an actual wound or a skin condition. And then from after you take the first photo, whether it's me or Luca or Bajan or anybody on this call taking the photo, they have to take the photo the exact same way. And they can't tilt it. As small as a 15-degree tilt of the camera can distort the photo or a measurement up to 35%. So that's the importance of getting that right. What we've seen is about a 73% reduction in time it takes to acquire the photo because you have that consistency in photographer technique. The other thing is now we've turned a photo into a reliable transaction, just like your bank will accept a direct deposit for a check up to $10,000 because now they can trust that photo. What we do with TrueC is we use this QR code to certify the photo. So now you know it is an actual photo that has not been manipulated and the metadata is all there. And we also provide a color accuracy score. Now you have a verifiably correct, authentic, color accurate photo that you can trust. Basically, we've turned the medical photo into a reliable transaction, just like what your bank has. What we've been able to show is a 35% increase in reimbursement. And this comes from strictly the photo matching the notes. Now the payer is more confident in, okay, what I see and what they're saying says the same thing. We've implemented this system into 17 different health systems. We've taken over 2 million photos. So this isn't something that is hypothetical. This is something that is being done 5,000 times every day already with tremendous success. And we've taken those photos and we've applied it to a deep learning model, and we partnered with the UC Irvine Center for AI Diagnostic Medicine. Dr. Peter Chang, you in the AI world may know Dr. Chang. And what we did is we looked, 100 clinicians took over 20,000 pairs of color calibrated photos from both inpatient, outpatient settings from 11 different wound types. And we had photos within a week, and we're able to then take those photos and identify the predictive short-term wound deterioration and found an AUC of 0.71. The model was best for moisture-associated skin diseases, trauma, and vascular etiologies. And then the mapping of the AI wound deterioration score to relative risk showed the extreme values. The AI identified subsets of patients with high risk for wound projection. And you can see the curves here. We also looked at the curves for the uncalibrated images, and the model was not successful. So our findings suggest that AI-enabled diagnostics may aid in identifying a subset of patients susceptible to future wound deterioration, enabling triage and more advanced monitoring or early intervention with this subgroup of patients. This is game-changing. This is getting to what Bijan said earlier, getting to predictive instead of reactive patient care. Here's the crazy thing to me. When I went to Dr. Chang with these photos originally, I said, Dr. Chang, I just want to see if with just the photo, you're able to find anything. And we didn't give the data or use anything but the photo. And really my audience for this was to raise investor capital. And Dr. Chang came back and said, wow, you know what? This is pretty cool. We have something here. We need to publish this. So we're actually presenting this data at the IPAWS meeting in New Orleans in November for the first time. The other thing that's happened is we're talking about standards. And one of the reasons why AI has been successful in internal body imaging is because there are great standards. We have no standards in the market for how medical photos are acquired. So we've been working with the FDA Wound Care Collaborative community, and the pending guidance for chronic cutaneous ulcers and burns doesn't say TrueC, but all the things we talked about that are well documented in the medical literature are being addressed by these new standards. So the technical variation and the inaccurate color due to device settings and technical variability, the solution is color calibration. And that's what the FDA is recommending. Technique variation and the inconsistency, optimizing the capture of the photos, and then the prevention or preventing manipulation, having security, having methods for authentication and security. Now, clearly in an FDA document, it's never going to say TrueC, but all of these things that are proven in the medical literature that are part of TrueC are being integrated into these standards. And importantly, I'd like to thank our scientific advisory board. Dr. Peter Chang at UC Irvine has been a tremendous help. Dr. Alicia R. Paulo at Hofstra and the director of wound healing at Northwell, and then Dr. Barbara Alexander in infectious disease at Duke and the past president of the Infectious Disease Society of America have contributed greatly to the research that we've conducted in helping us develop TrueC. And in conclusion, I talked about Dr. Alexander. We presented Dr. Alexander TrueC about 2 years ago. And she said, Ben, every patient I see, they send me a photo before I go see them. And she used the example of a burn patient. She said, it may be an hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours if I'm really busy before I can get to that patient's bedside. And by the time I get to see that patient, they may have put a new wound dressing on already. So I get there and I have to ask the nurse to remove that wound dressing. And that takes the nurse 15, 20 minutes of time. That wound dressing is really expensive for the hospital. And it's excruciatingly painful for that burn patient to have that wound dressing removed. And the whole time I have to sit there and hold that patient's hand. She said, that kind of ruins my day. That's not fun. She said, but with TrueC, I get a color calibrated photo that I can trust. And I still may have to have that wound dressing removed, but at least now I know that I'm doing it because I suspect an infection. There's something I really need to see here. If I could trust the photos today, maybe I could prevent that patient's pain. Maybe I could save that nurse's time. Maybe I could save the money for the hospital. And maybe it would make my life a little bit easier day in, day out. And that is our mission, making clinicians and patients' lives better with medical photos they can trust. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Ben. What an amazing talk. I love your introduction and background highlighting some of the unmet need.
Thank you.
I know that for engineers, including me, sometimes we take it too easy or too simplify, but that's our reality on the healthcare that we are dealing actually on a daily basis. I know that we have several great clinicians here. They were very busy, but they came to the talk, including I'm seeing that Dr. Axon Wong, my great colleague and wound expert here. And I learning a lot from her. So I know that Dr. Axon also dealing with those kind of challenge. I would like first, I know that Dr. Axon needs to go, but I would like to know that if she's available, what is her comment? Dr. Wong, what do you think about that kind of solution?
I think it's amazing. As you were going through and discussing some of the different cases, especially talked about the litigious cases all the way to our normal daily rounds, you hit a great point. I think that especially in academic centers where your resident sees a patient, they may take a picture, send it to you. You don't get to see the patient until later, having to go back to see the patient again, change the dressing. I think this is an amazing product. I am really excited to be able to utilize this in our clinical arena. As I stated, not only for just academic centers, but just for all wound care. And so this is really exciting.
Thank you so much. That means a great deal coming from you. I appreciate it greatly.
Right. So Ben, you can now collaborate with the UCLA physician as well.
I look forward to doing it. I will definitely call you. As the CEO of a company, that's music to my ears. Thank you so much.
Yes, and Dr. Novang, I know that the clinic workflow is so busy and complicated, and there are many people that also involved in the care plan. So, from point of view of workflow, those calibrations, I mean, I'm imagining that I like the analogy of taking a photography of check, but personally, sometimes I'm annoyed that they say that the background color is not correct. Change the background color, change the lighting, etc. So if you have those kind of challenges, uh, that become, I'm guessing, additional burden to overwhelm already wound center. Dr. Noman, what do you want to see about those kinds of the process? Do you think that is something that still with those challenges can be deployed in routine care?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the other thing that that I think you talked about is also continuity of care, right? So the goal is for us to look at progression of wounds. And so,
Right.
Dr. Najafi, you're absolutely correct. So on a daily basis, you're looking at these wounds. We take pictures, we put them in their EMRs. But again, I may be taking the picture today with my camera at my angle, and now tomorrow, Dr. Najafi, you're going to be taking that same patient images. And so I think that is another true aspect of this program. I think that helping us determine what our treatment outcomes have been, right? So I see the patient today versus next week. Did he get better? Did he get worse? And you're right. If I take the picture at just an odd angle, the wound may look more shallow or may not look a little bit more deep. It may look a little bit more erythematous, but it's like, no, it's just the way I take the picture. And we get this all the time where someone says, well, the picture doesn't really look that red, but in real life, there's a big, huge, cellulitic
Right.
area. So yeah, absolutely. I think this is something that can be done as an inpatient. But I also think maybe probably even more importantly as an outpatient to look at a progressive of care and then our treatment options, right? I use one dressing that may or may not be working. If I can just compare it to my prior to today, that would be amazing. This is amazing. I was listening and very attentively to your presentation. I love it.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank
You
you,
know,
Dr. Novak. I know that you said that you're very
Bajan,
busy, you need to
you
leave,
made
but the
two.
fact that you stay till the end, that speaks by itself. So, Ben, you have other fan as well. I'm seeing that Dr. Tavakkolian already trying to download your app and couldn't sign up for it. Kuyar, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually really appreciate the talk. We have been in this field for a while, and we understand. When you were talking about changing the phone, even there is an update coming, and the
Yeah.
quality changes. So this is really good. And I downloaded as soon as you started. I just downloaded the app. I wanted to see if I can try it, but it does look like that. Maybe I don't know how can you, is it a possibility to try it?
Yes, absolutely. So we just launched the app last Wednesday. Was
Oh,
the
okay.
first day that we launched it out, and I didn't expect to jump on this call and have people download the app. To be honest, I mean,
We need
I'm
this so
extremely
much.
honored
I will
that you
use it
did. So
tomorrow.
thank you. No, but what we can do is if you put your email and phone number in the chat, I will contact you and we can set you up for a trial and get you rolling today. And I would offer that for anyone that would like to try it. We are what I call in the restaurant world, it's called a soft launch. So we're giving it to friends, family to get them and to get their feedback, really, right? I mean, I'm not putting a press release out. We're trying to improve it and tweak it. We anticipate the full commercial launch probably in January is when we're really looking at rolling it out. But right now we're working with friends, family, stuff like that. We have the 17 health systems that are on the Altera app, and then we have the TrueC app that is, the technology's been integrated into Altera for the last 5 years. And what we did was take the technology, extract it, and make it available to all clinicians, as well as the app's designed so where your patients can take photos as well. And again, if they can take a picture with their cell phone, they can take a picture with TrueC in a HIPAA compliant environment that allows you to see it. And maybe that patient doesn't need to come into the clinic, or maybe they have a question or something, and it just improves their patient experience. But please send me your information.
I appreciate that. I got your email. I'm emailing you right now, and we'll be happy to try this and be in touch.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes, with your permission, Ben, I put your emailed in the chat box. So everyone that want to try that, please reach out to Ben. And
But John, you
Ben,
mentioned something that I think is important, and that's, I totally agree with you. When you go to take the picture of your check, and the first time you do it, you're not good at it, right? The first one's always the worst one. You're trying to figure what's the distance? How do I do this? The background's wrong, and it's frustrating. And I'll tell you, probably the same thing's going to happen with TrueC. But like anything, the more you do it, the better you get. And the real risk is having inconsistent photos and not going through that, not solving that problem. Because that skew problem, that out of focus problem, that's where the real issues are. Take the time, learn to train, just like you are with your check. You get better at it, and it saves tons of problems downstream.
I fully agree with you. I understand that the first adopter of those apps probably would be the researcher and followed by clinician.
Yeah.
There are some great incentive to adopt them. You mentioned about fraud, now it's becoming a big thing, and anything that can protect actually the clinician, definitely that become a value proposition. But I would like to see the other side when we would like that patient share the photos with us. And you mentioned in your background that sometimes the patient sending a photo and clinician cannot accept because it's HIPAA compliant. This is also huge unmet need. It's a separate ecosystem that you use in the clinic, the way that Dr. Nawang would like to look at it and ensure that several of her colleagues, when they are taking the photo, has a consistency on the photograph. Definitely, I'm seeing the value for that. But for our patient, some of our patients, for instance, cannot reach to the bottom of their feet. Even there was some cool app designed by a group in Netherlands, and also Dr. Armstrong came with the idea of the foot selfie. And the idea is using even voice-enabled solution that they're placing the phone on the floor and ask a patient to hover on the camera and then by voice or the camera take the photography. Of course, still I'm not yet seeing any commercial product that can empower and facilitate those kind of photography. But definitely, beside of that we need to have an accurate picture from the wound of the patient. Some of the process that you mentioned, including calibration, color code, it could be very hard for patient to understand and to follow the instruction. What are your solution for that kind of the application? Do you have in plan that expanding also that solution for patient and their caregivers?
So I'll tell you the aha moment for me when it came to patients taking photos. A good friend of mine, Kyle Gilman's wife, had breast cancer, and she was treated at UPMC. And the breast surgeon, Dr. Elizabeth Bailey, first follow-up visit post reconstruction, said, Kyle, every day I want you to take a picture of the incision site in the nipple, and I'm looking for infection, I'm looking for vascularization, and subtle changes in red and brown are what I'm looking for. And I want you to take the picture of your wife's, and send it and text it to me. So I think the answer is the caregiver in a lot of these settings is the person that will be taking the photo. But if you think of the number of outpatient surgeries being done, the number one risk statistically is infection and vascularization issues for a lot of these procedures. So that was kind of the aha moment. Now, look, wound care, maybe it's too difficult. Maybe we can't, have the patient do it. But I think there are settings where for a patient, dermatology is a great one. My daughter had a little freckle on her head that my wife was worried about. I took a picture and sent it to the dermatologist. He said, "Yeah, you know what? I need to see that." 65% of patients today are already taking photos of medical conditions and sending them or trying to send them to clinicians. So patients want to do this. Clinicians want a HIPAA compliant environment with accurate photos. So I think there is a need clinically for this. The patients want it, and we can facilitate that. We have a platform. And I think, look, ultimately, what TrueC is what I started with, is your kid comes in from outside, and we have enough AI photos that recognizes what that is. And maybe I don't need to come into the hospital. Maybe I don't need to go see the doctor. Maybe I do. But just like with your plant, we can train AI to be able to make those types of diagnoses. So I think ultimately it does become a patient app. We're a ways away from that today.
I'm I love that you mentioned surgically closed wound. Actually, I used to work a lot on the open wounds. And actually, one of my vascular surgeons, when I was at Baylor College of Medicine, brought my attention to surgical closed wound. I didn't realize that close to 25%, even 50% of the surgical closed wound for diabetic foot ulcer can fail, and
Right.
nobody pay attention to those kind of the complication. And I believe that the AI model that we have for open wound is completely different than closed wound. And closed wound, I believe that photography even is more important than open wound, because we have wound bed, we know what
Right.
we should look at it, but within a surgical closed wound, that becoming more complicated. It's a great job. There are several questions on the chat box. Collins mentioned that he loves to see publication. Do you have some publication? Can you share the link to the publication in the chat box, or maybe you can?
I don't have the link, but I can give it to you and you can send it out. We have about 4 different posters that were presented at SAWC. Those several of them have been submitted to wounds for publication in journals. And then we worked with the WCCC on a manuscript around the importance of color in wound healing that is pending publication as well. That should be out very, very soon. But I'm happy to share all of those. I just don't have the direct links to point you to them handy.
Great.
But
And I know
I
that
can send
Kuyar,
copies to the
yes,
group of all those
yeah,
posters.
it's very timely. I know that Kuyar also trying to look at it, an intervention consortium to come up with some guideline for the use of the AI in wound care and in general medical data. So definitely, Ben, you can contribute to that consortium as well.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, Cheyenne actually also he's working on this area. He has his own startup, and he came up with some great tool for medical scribe, AI medical scribe, and also help to multidisciplinary collaboration. Cheyenne, go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. Dr. Ben is fascinating. I would love to try your app, but we are kind of competing on the same space. Maybe we can find a way to collaborate. But exactly, we are working on some aspects of what you have done for wound imaging. And as you know well, skin tonality is a challenge. And we have been working very similar to what you have done, like make a check deposit experience, and we are finding the borders. However, we are trying to build a huge data set, collaboration in India, Africa, to build the data set for this diverse data set. So I was wondering if you could, with the barcode, solve the skin tonality border detection. And also, I would love to see how we can collaborate together.
Yeah, so the first part on the collaboration absolutely is the answer. And I'll tell you philosophically, our position as a company. You know, I think everyone remembers the commercial that Mercedes did a long time ago about the seatbelt and then the airbag, where they, you know, patented it and then they just gave it to everybody. Well, we have the patent on color calibration in the medical world and our system and process, but we will partner with every EHR, every medical photo app, because this is the technically correct way to take photos. And we want everybody to have access to this technology because it improves patient care and makes the physicians' lives easier. So we will partner with you. We will partner with every EHR. We'll partner with every medical photo app, every Moleculite, Mimosa, all those companies we will partner with, because clinicians need to have accurate information to make correct diagnoses. As far as the QR code or the barcode and stuff, we're using the QR code now, but I love where you're thinking and would love to learn more. Very interesting concept. It's not an area that I'm an expert in by any stretch, but the concept of pairing a photo that's technically accurate with the scribe, you know, notes that the patient gives, I think is very powerful.
Yes.
And I think that further enables AI to do better things. So love where you're going, would love to work with you.
Absolutely. I just wanted to add one more note, if you allow me, Dr. Najafi. We are considering to make our data set that we are building across a few hospitals globally available to researchers, like a biobank, like UK Biobank. We collaborated with them. And I believe these are very complex problems to solve, and we can only solve it by collaboration. And this is what we decided, to not keep that as a proprietary data to ourselves, but let any researcher to use them to tackle these pressing issues. So hopefully we may form a coalition and invite others to join. And
I'm all in. I'm telling you now, I'm all in. In fact, my board and I were having this conversation not a month ago about, and in fact, when I met with Dr. Armstrong, I guess it was about 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, we talked about this exact same concept. And I've already talked to the wound care collaborative community about participating in something like that as well. So 100% on board with where you're thinking.
That's great. And Shayan, maybe you can also share the link to the app. Maybe the audience also can try it as well. Hopefully that can build partnership. One thing that Ben, I would like to add, when I learned about the app that Shayan designed, originally he developed Pingo app for medical students during pandemic to help them to improve background education. And I believe that this is often an important factor that some of the developers, they missed. We have, for instance, many nurses that go into patient home, and we expect that they take the photography and then make a referral, but not all receive appropriate education. I remember that we have a study in which we use ancillary mattresses was dermal cell, that it's turned to kind of the like infected skin. And the nurses at home thought that this is a dead skin, and removed 4,000 products out of, from the wound of patient. That it was really bad. We were in the research, and definitely with $4,000 was very hard. And the patient was mad, the doctor was mad, and that's come up with some kind of the education. And I believe that every app, in particular if designed, even for clinicians, for the nurses, should come with some background education to ensure that they have the necessary familiarization, understand what they need to look at it, what is the importance of that kind of photography. And you elegantly mentioned in your introduction that maybe using the flashcard of the Pingo that Shayan added, that make it even much more easier and can be tested to see that whether that education can improve also the consistency. There are several questions, and I would like to go through those questions. Arash, go ahead. I know that you are working on the AI. You are also in the clinical setting, but you use your AI for addressing some of the challenges in the field. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. Actually, I really enjoyed that. Sorry for being late, but I have a question regarding like the data when you are like doing the deep learning. If you had or have like missing data or like missing colors code, how would you handle that? Are you using like any kind of imputation method, or if so, what kind of imputation method, and how would you like find the best imputation method? For example, the mean, the average, the mood, or like the other like methods. Thank you.
Yeah, you're talking specifically around the color accuracy score?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you miss the colors.
So it's funny you should ask. I was on a call before this one talking about another poster that we're presenting at the IPAWS meeting is on our methodology in developing the color accuracy score. So I'll tell you what we're doing, and kind of our thought process on this is delta E is the standard measure of color difference. So a 1 point of delta E is not perceptible by the human eye. You have to get to about 3 points of delta E so where the human eye can actually see a difference. The clinically relevant difference based in control settings, based off of the medical literature, is in that 3 to 5 delta E range. So what we're doing, and again, we developed the color accuracy score, and we're using it in both controlled and uncontrolled lighting circumstances and backgrounds, is we're taking just we're recognizing the colors and we're measuring the delta E difference, and we're doing an aggregate average. Now, I'm not saying that's the best methodology. That's what we're doing currently based off of how it's been done in the medical literature. I can tell you there's debate around what's the best way to do it. Should you weight the skin tones and the clinically relevant colors higher, or should you weight the colorimetric colors more? So we are kind of going through that process to refine the color accuracy score. Right now, it's just an aggregate average. The most important color in color calibration, believe it or not, is gray and white. If you think of a movie, the color slate, they only use gray, white, and black. And it's because those represent all the colors in the spectrum. If you calibrate to those colors, you get the best degree of accuracy. So we have multiple grays, whites, and blacks on the slate, and we have similar colors. If we don't recognize enough of the chips to get a color accuracy score above 90, we force you to retake the photo. And we just say, you know, the photo was not able to calibrate. Typically, it's because you have a finger over something or a shadow or something like that, and you just need to adjust the camera. 99% of the photos we take have a color accuracy score greater than 90. So if you compare that to uncalibrated photos, it's a fraction of that. It's about 70% of the photos achieve that level of accuracy. And then the way we address the lighting is, you know, your cell phone has the little flashlight on it. So we've done research to determine what is the optimal setting of that flashlight to get a nice soft light without getting a reflection. And we're able to improve the color accuracy score and prevent the things that don't allow you to recognize the chips to calculate the color accuracy score. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it was great. Thank you. It makes sense. I appreciate
Okay.
that.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. I'm seeing that also Professor Seke is here. She's a great computer scientist that she's developing also some framework of the AI to better analyze the wound picture. Dr. Seke, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Najafi. Great presentation. And
Thank you.
I was very excited that how much this problem or the app that you are designing here is relevant to my research in general. So I have tons of questions, but I'm going to save them and ask you one of them, which is my current basically research. So I was wondering if you have thought about how you can specialize this app for a different type of the wounds, meaning that if you could add some description of the image or photos. For instance, if the patients are uploading a photo and describing either about the photo or about the wound or about the patient's condition, and how exactly these pairs of different modalities, which you have the basically language modalities and you have vision modalities, both of them can be combined and provide a better accuracy for the detection. That's question one. And the follow-up question here is that when you want to specialize for the wound, some of the solutions here could be also like make sure that some part of the pixels in your photo could basically distract the AI model, right? Toward the wrong decision. So if we could like find some of those features that are more specialized to that type of the wound, then just the AI model eliminate them right away and focus on the, for instance, if the wound is in the center of the image versus it's at the edge of the image. So how exactly, because this would help with the trustworthy of the app, right? And the robustness of the app for the accuracy.
I think everything you said is 100% spot on correct, right? You know, as I said in the presentation, we had these 2 million photos that were color calibrated that no one else has. No one else has verifiably correct photos that they know the color and the photos that aren't color calibrated to do this stuff on. And my original, when I went to Dr. Chang, I wasn't looking to publish something and I wasn't looking for a sophisticated, refined model. I was looking for something, frankly, to present to investors to raise capital for the company. And he ran the model and he's like, oh my God, there's something here. And then he went back and ran it by different wound types. But one of the things we wanted to show was just based off of the photo, nothing else, that the AI can learn, which obviously you're well aware of. And it was also all the data I had to quickly turn this around, right? So I wanted something fast, quick, and easy to be able to get out there and to be able to show investors the power of what we're doing. What we got was much better than we ever anticipated. We were able to segment it by wound type, but we don't have, well, we actually have access to it. I just didn't have time to get all the other EHR data that are linked to those photos, which we have access to through our relationship with Altera. And I would love to go back and do all these subgroup analyses and look at different treatment modalities and different patient types and all those things. That was kind of like, you know, in my mind, as I was setting out to do this project, was way down the line. I never thought we'd get to where we are as fast as we have. So I was ecstatic. And you know, and I would I would love to work with you on how to refine and improve this. And I know Dr. Chang will as well. I mean, he was blown away by this. And he's like, yeah, we need to share this because we need to get other people involved.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I know that we are running out of time now, but I would love to talk with you. I would definitely email you and we can talk further.
Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know that we're running time, but there are two important questions that we'd like to ask. One of them is Dr. Shinar. He's also a serial entrepreneur, scientist, and I'm seeing that now he's becoming the program manager for the new ARPA Edge. Congratulations, Dr. Shinar. Go ahead.
Yeah, so two technical questions. So one is regarding the FDA clearance. Does it need regulation, and is it already cleared? And the other one is regarding the technicality of actually sending the calibration card to your users, clients. Yeah. How do you send it, and have you tested what happens over time? I mean, if the card wears off and the calibration is not as good.
Right. Three great questions. So first is we are a class 1 medical device with special controls, meaning that each of our cards has to be able to be tracked. So we have that certificate number. So that's how we, even though we're class 1, the FDA said, okay, you still need to put these special controls because we want to be able to make sure that the cards are properly done correctly and you can trace a patient back to a card. So, and that's part of turning that photo into a transaction with your check, right? That's exactly what we've done. So we are a class 1 registered medical device as a medical camera is the product code. We aren't making a diagnosis or a treatment recommendation, so we don't have to be class 2 or class 3. When we develop AI clinical decision support tools, then clearly we would have to, if we're making a diagnosis or treatment recommendation, then we would have to go through FDA clearance. How do we ship slates was your second question. We have 3 types of slates currently. One is one for a temporary slate, and the reason we developed the temporary slate is one that you can print, and that's to train people on how to be able to take photos rapidly. You know, so someone signs up, they're interested, they download the app. We want them to be able to download and start being able to train themselves on how to take photos. We don't say that is for clinical use, even though it is still traceable and we know where they got it from and everything. We can't control the color of those slates because I don't know the printer, I don't know the paper, I don't know if you're running out of ink or you have the right settings. But for training purposes, it's good enough. And we find that if you have decent lighting, we get color accuracy scores well above 90 typically. What we'll do is after you print a slate and you've signed up, we ship you slates. And we, you know, it's $29 a month and you get slates and you get all of the data storage and access that you need. As you need more, then just like your cell phone, the more data storage access slates you need, you purchase more. And then the last question was the deterioration of color. So we have both disposable slates, which for infection control practitioners, you would, or an open wound for infection control purposes, this would be for a single use for a given patient. So you'd take that for a patient and you'd dispose of it after. We are also developing or have developed a reusable slate, which is basically like a business card or a credit card. And the number one issue there is maintaining the color, because then you have to be able to wipe it clean for sanitation purposes. And that's the testing we're doing right now on those, is does it stand up to the bleach? Does it stand up to the quat solutions that they use for disinfection? And I'll tell you that that hasn't been the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the plastic cards have a higher degree of reflection on them, and getting the lighting set correct and getting the coloring correct has been the challenge. So, and my guess is we're probably 3 months away from the reusable slate. And there's use cases for that, right? Dermatologic conditions where people don't have open wounds or don't have infections, it's good. But you're exactly correct. Maintaining the color consistency is important. I can tell you the next iteration and where we're heading is to either train AI or come up with a system that the color slate is already somehow impregnated or integrated into the app. We aren't there yet, but that is where we're headed.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. For the last question, sorry that we're passing the time, but I would like to go also to Dr. Panto Tavakkolian. This is again in area of her research. I know that Panto, you are working on a couple of systemic reviews in this area. Go ahead and share your question.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just go to the to my second question to be fast. There are a lot of information that can be extracted if you get an oxygenation measurements of the wound or the temperature difference between the wounded area. And I know Fleur has brought this device that you can just put it on the camera, get the temperature measurements. And Dr. Anu from Florida, a faculty from Florida, not Atlantic University, the other one, she has been working on adding also one simple device on the camera, and she is able to get oxygenation measurements. I just wanted to put this up and see whether the app can be, like the model can be trained on this data sets as well.
Yeah, so currently the app doesn't have that integrated. I love the idea. And if the technology's there, would love to integrate it or partner with people that already are doing that and saying, hey, look, you're doing these things, add color calibration to it. I would much rather work with people in that way and partner and integrate than have to compete with people and try to reinvent the wheel every time, right? I mean, we have a enabling technology that will improve a lot of people's products. We want everybody to have access to it, but would love to talk to you. And if you have access to these companies, I'll tell you the biggest challenge we have when it comes to partnerships is we go talk to these other companies and they say, well, no one's asking for color calibration. We don't need it. And if you can give me 10 customers or 10 people that say they want it, then maybe we'll listen to you. But until people like yourselves saying, yeah, look, color calibration is important, we would like you to integrate it, then they'll listen to you. They look at me and they're like, man, what are you doing? No, people aren't asking us for this. And I always say, well, you never knew you needed an iPad until you had one. And it's kind of that same concept, right? I mean, people know there's a problem. They didn't know there was a way to solve this problem that would make their lives easier. And that's what we're educating people about. The technology is probably our biggest thing we have to do right now, but love the idea.
Yeah, I connected to you through LinkedIn. We'll catch up. Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you so much, Ben, and thank you, Panto, and everyone. And thank you, Cheyenne, also for sharing the Wound Scribe AI and also the coalition that you're working on it. So please go to that link. And also, if you're interested to join the Wound Biobank, please email to Cheyenne. Thank you, everyone. And I really enjoyed this talk as well as the contribution of everyone. As Ben also mentioned, the power and impact that we can make is through this collaboration and partnership. And we're hoping that through C2SHiP, we can make this happen at this connecting people who are sharing the same ideas or the interests, and they come out together, and that may help to change the future of healthcare. Happy Friday, everyone, and see you all next Friday. Next Friday also is about AI, and I believe that is relevant. It's not necessarily on the wound, but it's a relevant topic as well. So I hope to see you all next Friday.
Thank you all. Appreciate it greatly.